Welcome to Xi's Time. First, a review of President Xi Jinping's schedule for the past week. On August 16th, Chinese President Xi Jinping exchanged congratulatory messages with Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi on the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties between the two countries. President Xi said he attaches great importance to the development of China-Iran relations and is willing to work with President Raisi to take the 50th anniversary as an opportunity to deepen traditional friendship, advance deep and practical cooperation in various fields, and enrich the connotation of the China-Iran Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, so as to benefit the two countries and their peoples. On August 17th, President Xi sent a message of condolence to Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune over the recent forest fires that caused heavy casualties in the country. On behalf of the Chinese government and people, President Xi expressed deep condolences to the victims and extended sincere sympathies to the bereaved families and the injured. On August 17th, Xi Jinping chaired the 10th meeting of the Central Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs. The meeting heard reports from relevant departments on advancing common prosperity as well as forestalling major financial risks and stabilising financial development. On August 18th, President Xi had a phone conversation with Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi. President Xi stressed that no matter how the international and regional situation changes, China will unswervingly develop friendly relations with Iran. The two sides should continue to support each other on issues related to their core interests and major concerns. On the same day, President Xi had a phone conversation with Iraqi President Barham Saleh. President Xi stressed China firmly supports Iraq's efforts to defend its national sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity, fight against terrorism and safeguard its national security and stability. He added that his country also supports the Iraq people independently choosing a development path in line with Iraq's national conditions and opposes any external interference in Iraq's internal affairs. On August 19, President Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory letter to the 5th China-Arab States Expo. President Xi said China is ready to work with Arab states to seek cooperation and development, promote peaceful development, achieve mutual benefit and win-win results, jointly build the Belt and Road with high quality, elevate China-Arab strategic partnership to a higher level, and jointly build a China-Arab community with a shared future for the new era. On August 19, more than 20,000 people from Tibet's various ethnic groups gathered at the autonomous region's Potala Palace Square in celebration of its 70th anniversary of peaceful liberation. President Xi Jinping wrote inscriptions building a beautiful and happy Tibet and together fulfilling the great dream of national rejuvenation on congratulatory plaques presented at the event. On August 19, President Xi replied to a letter from veteran party chiefs from border villages of Tangyuanhua Autonomous County. He encouraged the veteran party chiefs to play an exemplary role in leading villagers in building a beautiful homeland, maintaining ethnic unity and safeguarding territorial integrity. The Global Young Leaders Dialogue, GYLD, program organised young foreign participants to visit various parts of China and better their understanding of the country. Chinese President Xi Jinping sent a reply letter to representatives of young foreign participants at the GYLD, hailing them for their active efforts to visit various parts of China and deepen their understanding of the country. President Xi encouraged them to further exchanges and mutual learning and contribute to the building of a community with a shared future for humanity.
We wrote the letter and sent it without any expectation, and receiving a response honestly just adds to the idea, the validation that generally the Chinese government and specifically President Xi's own vision is to empower youth, is to invest in internationalization, is to really invest in telling the China story, helping people understand the China story.
The thing that resonated with me most was the recognition of young people and young foreigners in China, especially people who have been here for a while, that, you know, we're an integral part of China's development, that we do have a role to play.
The key is a sentence that actually brought my attention, is that if you want to achieve happiness, you actually need to actually work hard. This is something that I saw through the tours.
What impressed me the most was when Xi Jinping wrote he wants more global youth and foreign talent to come here. Other countries really need to understand China, and not only understand China from the lens of reading a few books, watching something on YouTube, or reading newspapers. I think it really needs to be experienced.
Getting a letter reply from Xi Jinping is a big milestone in anybody's career, and I think it's just an encouragement for the mission of CCG and GYLD, because it shows that the work they're doing is very significant for the youth and the mission of China to bridge China with the rest of the world, especially creating more bridges, more cooperation and more dialogue between the youth.
Initiated by Chinese think tanks, the GYLD guides global young leaders to tour around different parts of China, enabling them to better understand the country. The program offers a platform for the sharing of ideas and mutual learning among young people from different countries and fields.
Part of what GYLD does is it also helps young leaders from around the world better understand China. And not just understanding China, how China works, but why China works the way that it does, which is perhaps as important, if not more so, to addressing some of the huge problems facing the world today.
我们的这个故事是需要这个多方来一起讲述的，而且是参与故事的主人公，或者是说故事的经历者、实践者的讲述是最有说服力、最真实的。尤其像外国青年这样的，他们来见证中国的发展，他们参与中国的发展，同时通过他们来讲述一个真实的中国故事。
President Xi replied later, sing to the signal, and the symbol that young people is quite important for the shaping the shared future for mankind.
I was struck by President Xi Jinping's letter to the young people because it epitomizes what the future of the world is, and it is going to be guided by young people, because he talks about young people across the world connecting with each other, finding ways of advancing development, advancing peace, advancing culture, getting to know each other, and finally that is what will actually lead to a more peaceful and prosperous world.
In 2014, when talking about what's on his bookshelves, Chinese President Xi Jinping called Tolstoy the widest Russian writer, noting that among Tolstoy's 3 masterpieces, War and Peace is his favorite. The humanitarian spirit Tolstoy espoused harmonizes with the traditional Confucian values of benevolence and rituals. The dialogue between the brilliant souls of Tolstoy and Confucius transcends national borders, civilizations, time and space. Their dialogue is as much a timeless crystallization of the cultural exchanges between the East and the West as it is a shining example of the bond of affinity among peace-loving people. Though living millennia and miles apart, they had a dialogue, somehow transcending time and space due to their acute cultural perceptions and their aspiration for a spiritual world. They are Leo Tolstoy, a giant of Russian literature, and Confucius, the founder of Confucianism. Throughout the history of world culture, a novel with intimate reflections on the times and humanity makes a timeless classic. In 2014, when talking about what's on his shelves, Chinese President Xi Jinping called Tolstoy the widest Russian writer, noting that among Tolstoy's 3 masterpieces, War and Peace is his favourite. The humanitarian spirit Tolstoy espoused harmonizes with the traditional Confucian values of benevolence and rituals. There's a natural chemistry between Tolstoy and Confucius. War and Peace is full of intimate portraits of Russians' daily life during the Napoleonic invasion of Russia. Expressing discontent at war, the epic novel also praises the humanitarian spirit through the characters and the twists and turns of their destinies. Writings are for conveying truth. The English versions of the 4 books were Tolstoy's first contact with Confucian thought and had a profound impact on him. Tolstoy's intimate knowledge of Chinese culture and strong attachment to the Chinese people were encapsulated in some of his writings. There is a line that goes like this: I have been familiar with Chinese religious doctrines and philosophies for a long time, not to mention Confucius, Lao Tzu, and the annotations to their works. I have high respect for the Chinese people. Studying Confucius and Confucianism is an important approach to understanding the national characteristics of the Chinese, as well as the historical roots of the spiritual world of the present-day Chinese. As the Chinese saying goes, the benevolent loves others. Tolstoy's intense interest in the study of the Confucian concept of benevolence enabled him to understand both Confucianism and the Chinese nation. In an article titled On Confucian Philosophy, he said that China is the world's oldest and biggest nation. China is the most peace-loving nation across the globe. Chinese people have no desire to grab others' possessions, nor do they have any lust for war. On September 24, 2014, Xi attended the international conference in commemorating the 2565th anniversary of Confucius' birth. While noting that the fine traditional culture of China should play a critical role in the present-day world, Xi said that contemporary human beings face such outstanding problems as widening wealth gaps, endless greed for materialistic satisfaction and luxury, unrestrained extreme individualism, continuous decline of social credit, ever-degrading ethics, and increasing tension between man and nature. She also added that some people of insight believe that the fine traditional culture of China, Confucianism included, contains important inspirations for solving the troubles facing us today. Since ancient times, Chinese people have held in esteem ideas preaching peace. Coordinate and seek harmony with all nations. Associating with the benevolent and befriending neighbours is a precious virtue of the state. Within the 4 C's, all men are brothers. A far-off relative is not as helpful as a near neighbour. Neighbours wish each other well, just as loved ones do to each other. A warlike state dies inevitably, no matter how big it is. The love for peace has been embedded firmly in the spiritual world of the Chinese nation and remains China's basic idea in handling international relations. Hailed as the soul of the golden era of 19th century Russian literature, Tolstoy harbored a deep love for Chinese culture. He believed the peace-loving Chinese nation will play a significant role in the future of humanity. As the Chinese saying goes, the universal way leads to the greater good of all. Peace and development are the theme of our time. They are the unstoppable trend of history. The dialogue between the brilliant souls of Tolstoy and Confucius transcends national borders, civilizations, time and space. Their dialogue is as much a timeless crystallization of the cultural exchanges between the East and the West as it is a shining example of the bond of affinity among peace-loving people. As she has said, given the challenges facing humankind, countries need to strengthen solidarity, not create estrangement. They need to advance cooperation, not provoke conflicts. Let us join hands to build a community with a shared future for mankind and bring greater benefit to the people of our world. In 1951, Tibet, with an area of over 1.2 million square kilometres, was peacefully liberated. The historic turning point has led local residents onto a way towards a better life. At the end of our program, let's get a closer look at the new Tibet in the new era, after 7 decades of leapfrog development.